Hello, and welcome to the August Safety Store topic. This is Heather with Firefly Children and Family Alliance, Community Partners for Child Safety. This month's topic is about bullying prevention. So we're going to look at and do some defining of terms, and we're also going to talk about what to do in different scenarios as it relates to bullying. So let's first start with some defining of what bullying is. So bullying is unwanted, aggressive behavior among school-age children that involves a real or perceived power imbalance. The behavior is repeated or has the potential to be repeated over time. It includes actions such as making threats, spreading rumors, attacking someone physically or verbally, and excluding someone from a group on purpose. Bullying can also take place through technology, known as cyberbullying. We're going to look shortly at some and do a deeper dive into what cyberbullying is, because bullying's happening much more often in this context. But bullying can be mean text messages or emails, rumors sent by email or posted on social media, embarrassing pictures, videos, websites, or fake profiles. There are many other types of aggressive behavior that doesn't fit the definition of bullying. This does not mean that they are any less serious, however, or require any less attention than bullying. Rather, these behaviors require different prevention and response strategies. So let's take a little bit more of a look at cyberbullying. Like I said, it's definitely on the rise. Kiddos are getting access to phones and devices at younger and younger ages, and they often do not have the maturity or emotional intelligence to sometimes navigate these waters, and it can lead to cyberbullying. So one of our resources is stopbullying.gov, and it defines cyberbullying as bullying that takes place over digital devices like a phone, a computer, tablets, etc. It can happen on social media, it can happen in forums and game sites, over group text, all those various things. It can include sending, posting, or sharing negative, harmful, false, or mean content about someone else. It can also include sharing personal or private information about someone, which ultimately causes embarrassment and humiliation. So, what are some signs that a child might be victim of cyberbullying? If they're avoiding being online or being on devices, or if they're appearing very stressed out when they receive communication on their devices, if they are starting to withdraw from friends and family or acting reluctant to go to school or social events, if they don't really want to talk about what's going on online, if we start to notice issues of low self-esteem, depression, fear, if we're noticing it's impacting other areas of their life, definitely something we want to check out. So NetSmarts is another resource we want to definitely make sure you know about. We'll include all these resources at the tail end of today's presentation. But so far, stopbullying.gov and NetSmarts are two great resources for you to be aware of. Now we are going to watch a video from stopbullying.gov, and let's see if you can spot if it's cyberbullying.
Cyberbullying happens when someone posts or shares harmful or mean content about someone else on the internet, social media, apps, texts, video games, or digital devices. Take this example. Maddie took a screenshot of her classmate Shonda's photo from social media. She then used an app to make Shonda look like a monster in the photo and added some insulting words. After sharing it in a group text, some classmates replied with hurtful, mean comments about Shonda. Others laughed and shared it with others. Is it cyberbullying? Yes. Maddie wanted to embarrass Shonda, and by doing so, she encouraged others to do the same. What can Shonda do? Take screenshots of the cyberbullying. It's painful, but Shonda needs to document what happened in case it happens again. Shonda can also block the group texts. She should tell what happened to an adult she trusts. Together, they may want to report what happened to the school. How about this one? Malcolm plays multiplayer video games online with people he only knows through gaming. A few of them have added him on social media. One player, Lucas123X, or Lucas, used to chat with him a lot while playing, asking a bunch of personal questions. Malcolm answered and didn't think much about it. But one day, Lucas posted all kinds of personal information about Malcolm on social media, mixed in with lies and comments about his ethnicity and gaming skills. Is it cyberbullying? Yes. Lucas was trying to harm Malcolm and his reputation. What can Malcolm do? He can take screenshots of the posts and block Lucas on social media. What Lucas did may have also violated the rules of a social media site and the gaming platform. Malcolm should report Lucas's behavior to the sites. He can also avoid a game if he knows Lucas is one of the players. Malcolm can tell an adult about what happened. Together, they can help determine if they should report it to the police. And remember, never give out personal information to strangers. Here's another one. Jaden and his friend Dylan were having fun, kidding around after school. Jaden took photos and posted them online. One photo showed Dylan making a weird face, which they both found funny, but other kids who saw it started posting mean comments about Dylan's face in the photo. Dylan was upset by the photo and the comments. Is it cyberbullying? No. If Jaden didn't mean any harm and he's willing to delete the photo, it is not cyberbullying. If Jaden doesn't delete the photo after seeing the negative comments being posted about his friend Dylan, he could be contributing to cyberbullying, though. What can Dylan do? He can ask Jaden to remove the post and, in the future, to ask permission before sharing photos of him. If Jaden is a friend, he'll respect Dylan's request, apologize, and delete the photo. For more information, visit stopbullying.gov.
All right, so those are some great examples of how to differentiate what is bullying versus what's not bullying. It's really important for us to think about that, and at what point would it escalate to being bullying. So we are now going to also take a little bit of a look at what the Anti-Defamation League's definition of bullying is. There's a couple different bullying definitions that we work with, and we want to share what this one is because it kind of dives a little bit deeper into what we're talking about today. So it's repeated actions or threats of action directed towards one person or more people who have or perceived to have more power or status than their target. So notice there's a common theme of power here. It's causing fear, distress, or harm. Bullying can be physical, verbal, psychological, or any combination of these three. Bullying behaviors can include name-calling, obscene gesturing, malicious teasing, rumors, slander, social exclusion, damaging a person's belongings, threats, and physical violence in person and online, which we've been talking about. Anti-Defamation League has a great program that's available for schools, but we highly recommend checking out the information about this program just to become more familiar of it, especially for our youth in those spaces such as schools and other youth serving settings. But the program is called No Space for Hate. So building a learning community of inclusivity, respect, and equity. So it's really important that we all know we have a role to play in combating bias and bullying as a mean to stop escalation of hate. So this is a program where folks can, it's self-directed, and learn how to join the movement and help make more equitable and inclusive environments. So a little bit more about that is that bullying is almost always related to a target's identity of some sort. We know too, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this in a moment, bullying is a behavior, not a person. So when we think about labels and how we're really talking about this, we want to challenge folks to talk about bullying as an action or a behavior, not that someone is a bully. 1 in 5 students, ages 12 to 8 report being bullied at school. So think about that middle school, high school age. 44% of these students are of students who witnessed a bullying incident, ignored it. So something to think about, empowered bystanding, right? And even joined in. From 2021 to 2022, there was a 49% increase of anti-Semitic bullying incidences. 70% of LGBTQ plus students stated they were verbally bullied, and 36.5% of students reported being cyberbullied. So, like I said, it's really important that we shift from the notion of calling someone a bully because we can get really stuck in these labels that get put upon us, right? And it doesn't really cultivate a sense of change or a different way of being, right? But if we call the behaviors, call the choices of how we are acting, and give labels to those things, it does give a sense of, oh, I can change, I can do better, things like that. So labeling children and young people as bullies or victims can be disempowering for both sides and unhelpful in supporting them to change their behavior or even recover and heal from the impacts of bullying. Our focus should always be on the behavior and the impact it had. Impact, impact, impact. That's a key word there. This will help them understand what they did, why it was wrong, and what we can expect from them instead. We're also talking about empathy here, right? This allows us to state clearly the behavior that needs changed and reinforce the behavior we want to see. This gives clarity. You know, clear is kind, unclear is unkind, says Brene Brown, and it makes it easier to address negative behavior and, importantly, rewards positive behavior. We also know that this is truly in the context of relationships and interactions amongst peers, of all the different people within these spaces that youth are in. So we take different roles. So perceived versus actual roles, we want to think about that. How are we as adults responding when these things occur? Remembering that not to label a child, but think about the behavior that we want to modify and redirect. So it is a behavior that can make people feel hurt, threatened, frightened, and left out. It can happen on face to face and online, like we've talked about. Um, the impact it has on the other person's capacity to feel in control of themselves. We want to think about a person's sense of agency, a sense of self-worth, self-esteem, all of that. If the bully is overpowering them, trying to feel like more powerful and do all these things, if they're doing that, they're trying to take that away from the person they're bullying, right? So it can make people feel hurt, threatened, frightened, and left out, and those are important things to think about. Let's focus once again about that impact. So it can affect people in different ways, and this should be taken in consideration. Everybody, is different, and some people it may impact them in some ways, and others it may impact them in other ways. If we're not sure if the behavior is bullying, then we want to look at the effect it's having on the receiver of the bullying. If they are unable to respond effectively and then regain their sense of self and control, adults need to intervene and help restore it. Keeping the focus on impact reduces emphasis on persistence and intent. What we do about bullying is more important than how we defined it. So thinking about intent versus impact, we want to definitely be thinking about the impact that it's having. We don't want to focus on the intent because the person doing the bullying may say, well, I didn't mean that, right? But the reality is if it's checking those boxes and it's having those impacts, it needs to be addressed. It needs to be dealt with. It needs to be redirected. We should always remember that children will tease each other, sometimes fall in and out of it. It's kind of a pendulum sometimes with friendships, or a roller coaster. We never know one day the next. They're going to sometimes have disagreements. They're navigating this, right? It's kind of like a dress rehearsal when they're going through and navigating relationships. This is normal part of growing up, and we want to know that those are different things than bullying. But if the behavior is going unchecked, it can lead to bullying, making those being bullied feel afraid, uncomfortable, and unsafe. So we want to also convey to kids and also as adults know that all behavior communicates feelings. Sometimes we can use images like clouds, and the cloud that passes by is the feeling. And what is that feeling telling us? What is that communicating to us? Our response should focus on identifying how someone feels and help them cope with and respond to those feelings. That's really great social emotional, like intelligence work. When we talk about behavior communicating feelings, we do that emotional intelligence work around naming our feelings. Children and young people may act out of character when they're being bullied, and changes in behavior can signal something's wrong. We want to become detectives with children's behavior. We want to unpack the why of what's going on with children. That's really operating with that trauma informed lens, and we want to focus on what someone did and the impact that it had, and kind of walk through that. We want to really encourage ally behavior, both for adults and young people. And that's someone who stands up to someone being who that is stands up and for someone who's being bullied, stands up to and stands up for the person being stands up to the bully. Sorry, I got a little tongue tied there. And stands up for the person receiving the bullying. A great deal of this takes place when adults aren't around, and because young people increasingly don't report bullying to adults. We have to, as soon as we kind of get a sense that it's going on, we want to, intervene. But we also want to really encourage young adults and young people to be empowered bystanders, to be the courageous one, to stand up and say, hey, no, that's not cool, that's not okay, and not go along with it. They can support the targets, not make sure they always know that it's a very courageous and brave thing to not participate, to maybe tell the bully or to the person doing the bullying, sorry, to stop. That can take a lot of bold and courageous action too. And if they feel like they can't do it themselves, who is their trusted adult that they can talk to, be allies online, and be really open-minded and not judging. So this is a great video we're going to watch. If a child is being bullied, believe them, make sure they know that you're going to address the situation, and follow up with leadership in the institution. This doesn't appear to be working. Let me see if I can pull the link up here and get it to play. This is from, let me get it. All right, so we want to talk now about signs a child is being bullied. Look for changes in the child, but be aware that not all children who are bullied will exhibit the warning signs. So what do we want to be looking for? Signs that may point to a problem with bullying is declining grades, loss of interest in schoolwork, not wanting to go to school, sudden loss of friends or avoidance of social situations, feelings of hopelessness or decreased self-esteem, self-destructive behaviors. If we know someone who is in serious distress or danger, don't ignore it. Get them help right away. 1 in 5 students experience bullying in their day-to-day life, and at least 37% are bullied online. Some more signs: unexplained injuries, lost or destroyed clothing, books, electronics, frequent headaches, stomach aches, feelings sick, faking illness, changes in their eating habits, like skipping meals or binge eating. Maybe they didn't eat lunch at school, difficulty sleeping. So those are some signs that a child is being bullied. Why some youth will bully? They might feel, if they feel secure, have good, strong sense of self-worth, we've cultivated strong empathy, they are less likely to bully. But we know that some children do not have those supports, and every unique is individual, and there can be many factors that contribute to bullying behavior. There are several factors that do contribute to it. There can be peer factors. So you can kind of see some of those here on this slide: to show their allegiance, to fit in with peers, to exclude others from their group, to show who is and who is not part of the group, to control the behavior of their peers. There's some family factors as well. So maybe they come from a family where bullying and aggression is going on in their home. Maybe they're not getting a lot of emotional support and communication. Who maybe there's in the home, it's a really kind of authoritarian parenting style going on, really reactive style parenting. Or maybe it's the other side of that coin, and they're really, really lenient, and they're really passive in their parenting style, and they don't really hold the kids accountable or redirect the children in any kinds of way, and it's kind of a free-for-all. Sometimes there's school factors too we want to consider. If the schools where they're not really addressing it appropriately, or if the child's just simply being excluded and stigmatized at school and the school's doing nothing, that's a concern. We know there's emotional factors at play here too. Maybe they've been bullied themselves. Maybe they just really have a lack of understanding of others' emotions. They too may hurt people. So maybe feelings of insecurity, low self-esteem, may not have the skills for handling social issues or kind of different kinds of feelings in healthy, positive ways. So if our child views bullying, ask for more details, assure them that the situation will be addressed, and follow up with leaders in the school. Let's see here. We want to see if we can get this video to load.
70 to 90% of kids witness bullying regularly, whether in person or online.
What can you do if you see someone else being bullied? It might feel difficult or even impossible to intervene.
But you don't have to do something big or dramatic. Even one small action can help change the outcome.
You can choose not to participate. By refusing to join in or laugh along, you're sending a message that you don't agree with what they're doing.
You can talk to the kid they're bullying. It doesn't matter if the person is your close friend. Say that you think what happened was wrong. Ask if the person is okay and how you can help.
If you feel it's safe, you can speak up and tell the kids doing the bullying to stop.
You can also report the bullying. Find an adult you trust and ask for help.
When enough of us take small steps, they can add up to big changes. You have the power to help stop bullying.
Okay, I feel like that may be the same video I showed before. I will definitely go back and check on that. But yeah, so that's if we witness bullying. Why don't kids ask for help? Well, kids don't ask for many reasons. It can make the child feel helpless. They may think that they can handle it on their own. They may be worried to be considered a snitch or a tattletale. They worry about the backlash from sometimes, it's all about power. So what if this person like bullies them worse, or they get the others that are participating in the bullying to bully you as well? It's very humiliating. They may feel like they are just truly powerless or weak. It could further isolate them. It could cause rejection. And so we know that roughly only 20% of the time, it's a very underreported situation going on for our young people. So we want to encourage both adults and youth as they can to stop bullying on the spot. When we address it quickly and consistently, we send a message that this is not acceptable. We're not going to tolerate this. This can help stop the bullying over time, and there's lots of really great steps we can take. We also want to make sure we avoid some common mistakes. Don't ignore it. Don't think that kids can work this out on their own. Don't immediately try to get the facts sorted out. Don't force them publicly to say what they saw. There's a lot of vulnerability here, and we don't want to question the children in front of other kids. We want to talk to them separately and cultivate safety first, right? And we don't want to necessarily make them apologize or patch things up right on the spot. We need to be detectives and really unpack what's going on here. We do want to separate them, make sure everyone's safe, like I said before, make sure there's no immediate medical or mental health issues. Stay calm, reassure everyone, and model the behavior we want to see. We do need to get police help if a weapon's involved, if there are threats of physical injury, if there's threats of any motivated violence, if there's serious bodily harm or threats of that, if there's any kinds of sexual abuse involved, or anyone is accused of an illegal act such as robbery, extortion, etc. What we know is there is prevention strategies we can implement to kind of curb these issues from happening. We know that social emotional intelligence really does help stem the tide of this. So when we are building upon youth's empathy, emotional regulation, so social problem solving, friendship building, and assertiveness, it's a win-win. Children who are going to be far unlikely to bully, it's going to really help bystanders, and we're also going to see helps with for the folks being bullied as well. What can we do just to continue to kind of be in the know of this? We know it's underreported. We know we need to be building upon social emotional learning. We want to spend time with our kids, build those secure attachments, those open lines of communication, that they come to you for tough stuff. So some people have difficulty with this. We can if we just simply ask, how was your day? We may not get a whole lot from them, right? It was okay. Whatever. But you can just get really creative with the questions that you ask kids. We've got some great resources here. I love the table topics. There's lots of really great questions you can find online. There's kind of books called What If, just anything you can do to get kids to open up and talk to you. Talk about bullying directly with kids. Tell them that you know what it is. Make sure they understand and know what it is. And they're probably having someone at school talk to them about it too. But there's no right or wrong answers to the questions that we can ask them, but it's all about keeping the lines of communication open. So this is a list of different questions that an adult could ask a kiddo, and just to kind of get a better sense of what's going on and that they're not alone in dealing with this. Because remember, it's really underreported. Talk about it and take time to listen. This just really iterates my previous point. So these are some things we want to definitely do. There's a really great resource called Take Time to Listen cards from SAMHSA that you can definitely take a look at. Other bullying statistics. So there are so many statistics that are out there that tell us that this is not, something that's pie in the sky or not happening in our community or XYZ. It's definitely happening. It's underreported. So we want to be proactive in talking to youth about healthy relationships, healthy friendships, emotional regulation, empathy, and all those different things. We also know it has tremendous impacts on school achievement and just their overall health, physical and mental health, and etc. There are really a lot of great resources out there. There's so many more than I even have listed here, but Captain Compassion, they are the folks of the video I shared earlier. Stop Bullying USA is really great. Those Facts About Bullying, Prevent Child Abuse has some really great resources. They have a smart card or a quick card about bullying. PACER is a really great organization that does a lot of really great anti-bullying work as well. Anti-Defamation League, like I talked about, NetSmarts. But yeah, so that's it. So we thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure to check out your newsletter, your bulletin boards, and reach out to us if you have any questions about anything we talk about from month to month in our safety topics. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next month.